Greetings and welcome to Channel Otherdoc. I'm Jim. I use he, him pronouns, and today we are playing Fall of Magic, a story game by Ross Cowman about a world in which magic is dying and our characters are traveling to the place where magic was born. We're going to go ahead and go around and introduce everybody. We played this last week. This was a lot of fun, and now we've got some new folks in to take a shot at it this week. And feel free to tell us who you are and anything you would like about us, or anything you have interest in fantasy or what have you. We shall start with Kat. Hello.
I remember to unmute myself. Hi. I'm glad to be here. I love coming and doing these games with you and meeting all new players. It's always so much fun. This is one of my favorite kind of games. I've never played Fall of Magic before, but it falls into that whole cooperative storytelling that I just adore. I love these games, whether it's for 2 players or 6 players. It's always so much fun, always such good storytelling, and I'm glad to be here.
Yay! Awesome. So glad to have you here. Didn't realize this was the first time you played Fall of Magic, so this is going to be very cool. Now let us head down to Sphinx. Hello.
Hi, I'm Sphinx, and this is the first time I've played not any kind of RPG, but the first time in a long time that I've played anything. So getting back into them was a thing I wanted to do this year. So this sounded really exciting, and also not like the scariest thing I could do for a first time playing this, like where people can see me. So I'm super excited to play this. It sounds really fun. I love the collaborative storytelling element, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yay! Awesome. And finally, let us head down to Kestrel. Hello. Muted. Oh no, I cannot hear you. You're not muted on Zoom. So maybe there's a thing up with your mic, possibly?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. There you are.
Apparently Zoom decided to switch my microphone.
No.
Of course, it worked a few minutes ago, and I made sure I wasn't on mute. But anyway, so I'm Kestrel. It's good to be here again. I really enjoyed the other game that I played with Jim. It was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing what this one's like. I've never played Fall of Magic either, but diving into new games with new people's fun.
Awesome, and that is basically what a good portion of this channel is about. Basically, pretty much, it's all gaming experiments all the way down. Very cool. So, before we dive in, though, just as a reminder, like we do with most games on this channel, we're going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. If we hit something that's crossing a line for one of us, any of us can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else, or make an X symbol, and we'll back up and do something else. If something happens that we're okay having in the game, but we don't want a graphic description of it, we can type an N in the Zoom video chat and we'll fade to black on it, or we'll put it behind a veil, so it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. Finally, if we're exploring a topic or an area of roleplay that's particularly intense for us, but we want to keep going anyway, we can put an O in the chat to let us know we're okay and that we're all good to keep piling on the drama. Something else we can do is put an O with a question mark after it when we're moving into a difficult topic, or if we say or we do something and then think, maybe that might have been a little too much. Then everyone else can respond to that, again with an X, an N, or an O to let us know if we're still doing okay. Now let us plunge into the world of Fall of Magic once more. I shall read from the hymnal once again, just as we're setting this up. Magic is dying, and the Magus is dying with us. With it. With us, yes, we're all dying. And the Magus is dying with it. We travel together to the realm of Umbra, where magic was born. And so this is a collaborative storytelling game, where we're all playing a group of travelers in the company of the Magus. On the way, we'll encounter strange hosts, fantastic places, and perilous choices as we play to discover who our characters are, how they relate, and how our journey changes them. It's basically, in a lot of ways, it's a lot like a conversation. As we're setting this all up, we have certain points where we have scenes. We go in and we do different things. As set up by the prompts on the map. So in setting up, the first thing we do for figuring out our characters is we pick a name. Now, you can choose the name off the map if you like. I'm not going to hold you to that. You can make up your own if you wish, and it'll be just fine. I know I'm pulling up Fantasy Name Generator, just so that I have that in front of me. Because I've played using this using the Fall of Magic map a couple of times already. But if anyone would like, we'll go ahead and I guess we'll start again with Kat. Do you have a name for your character?
I was gonna go with Piccolo. That strikes me. So I'm going to use Piccolo. Piccolo.
Piccolo?
Piccolo.
Okay, awesome. Okay. And have you decided? Do you know what pronouns you want to use for Piccolo?
She, her.
Okay. Cool. Soon will come the time when I will attempt to talk and type at the same time, but that time is not here yet. As I'm putting the things in here.
You're a quicker man than I, Gunga Din.
It's dangerous. All right, and over down to Sphinx. You know what name you wanna grab?
Yeah. Can I use Vago?
Sure.
And they them pronouns for Vago?
Sure, absolutely. Okay. And Kestrel, what name do you want?
I'll go with Fawn.
Fawn. Okay, cool. And what pronouns do you want to use for Fawn?
She, her.
She, her. Okay. Awesome. All right. I feel like I feel like playing something slightly strange today. Let's see. So, let's see. The different name generators on here are insane. And a lot of these are coming up with a lot of very strange... Oh, hey! Hello, thank you for the subscription. Much appreciated. Awesome. Sure. Okay. I think I'm going to go with... Let me go with Gil, just which we have not yet defined exactly what it is. I'm going to spell it with a Y and two L's. And I'm going to go with they, them. And I will figure out the context as this is happening. Okay. Just making sure I'm making a note of that. Awesome. Okay. I will put those on the overlay soon. But whilst that rumination has happened, Now you would choose a title from the options listed on the map. It's fine if players choose the same title. The title is a combination of a location plus one of the 3 options listed before the location. And so we have, like, say, for example, one could be Apprentice of Ravenhall, or Golem of Ravenhall, or Raven of Ravenhall. That's those are like one of the options. Ravenhall, Barleytown, Stormguard, Mistwood, and Istalia, I think that is. All right, Kat, do you know which title you want?
I'm just gonna go with Midwife of Barleytown.
Midwife of Barleytown. Okay. And Sphinx, what title would you like?
Giant of Mistwood?
Giant of Mistwood, excellent. And Kestrel, what title would you like?
Ranger of Mistwood?
Awesome. And so I think I'm going to go with well, it's either going to be Apprentice of Ravenhall or Crab Singer of Istalia.
I don't know what a crab singer is, but that sounds fascinating.
Let's find out what a Crab Singer is. I'm going to go with Crab Singer of Istalia. And yes, Crab Elvis is basically who this is. Possibly, we'll see. And so we've got our names, we got our titles. Now we choose tokens. Everyone chooses a token, then we will choose one more to represent the Magus, and we share that token. So you see the tokens up above the map. Again, to Kat, what token would you like?
I think I'm going to take the candle.
Okay.
Feels appropriate.
Awesome. Excellent. And Sphinx, what token would you like?
I'll take the sword.
Excellent. Okay. Cool. And Kestrel, what token would you like?
Like the tree.
Awesome. Okay. All right. And so I think I will take the ocean, because of course I will. Awesome. Okay. And I'm gonna be positioning those into the overlay in just a moment as well. As I'm kind of sorting all this. Let's see, ocean. Here we go. That's that token, which shall go up here. There we go. Okay, tokens should be in place now on the overlay. Now we choose a token for the Magus. So we've got the so that's going to be the bird. It's going to be the raven, because that's the one that's left. Cool. And you can feel free to go ahead. You all should be able to grab those tokens that are up there and drag them down. There you go. over to Ravenhall, which is where we're starting. Okay, so we take turns one at a time in this game, each telling a small part of the story. During your turn, other players can contribute ideas, make suggestions, and act out other characters, NPCs, what have you. But you get final say over what happens during your turn. We each also get final say over what is true about our own character. So, like, you can have other characters in your other of the players' characters in your scene as well, if you so desire. So on each turn, we basically, you move your character token and describe the scene from their perspective. And before the scene ends, you use the story prompt to add an additional element to the scene. And basically, so when they describe when they're talking about the scene, that's basically sort of these, you see the heading is the scene. So for Ravenhall, we have the bridge, the menagerie, the rose gardens, and the scrying pool. And the story prompts are what's below the each of these things. So a story prompt for the bridge is your face in the river. There's a lot of interpretation. You can, room for interpretation, how you want to say that, what you want to say that means. And so as we start, you place your token on any of the scenes at the Magus's current location. When it's your turn, you describe the scene, you use the story prompt, and then when you're done, you pass the turn. And that's really it. There are a few fiddly bits that we're gonna come up to. Like, for example, there's a thing with traits here where we can assign traits to ourselves or to others. When you see that these sort of cross-like symbols, and we'll jump off that bridge when we come to it. A couple of other things we can hit from time to time, depending on what kind of thing we're doing. And when it's your turn, you can also opt to move the Magus. And when you move the Magus to a new location, you get to describe the overall location, everything sort of from the Magus's eyes, Magus's point of view. You can have the Magus also when you're doing your own individual scenes. The Magus can be there. Someone else can play the Magus if you want. And that's kind of where we go. And then we just keep doing that until we decide we're done. That's pretty much how this goes. I think if you like, I'll go ahead and start just by way of demonstration, if you'd like me to do that. Because I don't think anyone else here has played Fall of Magic before. So yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll start us off. So let's see. I, the Crab Singer, shall appear at the bridge to help escort the Magus to Umbra. So I think what they see, your face in the water. So the way I'm going to interpret that... Why am I doing this? Of course I am. So I think that there are maybe a couple of folks about who like sort of passing, they hear this strange sort of humming, this sort of coming through, and they're like, what the hell? And they're moving across the bridge. And I think someone briefly, it's like they're sort of as they're passing away, and we don't really need people to play these because they're going to be out of the scene immediately. It's just like they're sort of like, did you see a face in there? I think I saw a face in there. And so I think we look down to the water. We see this image that looks like a face. Looks like a mostly human face. And it's Gil, sort of basically coming up out of the water. by the bridge. He was in there catching fish in the manner in which he does, which is basically he has basically kind of like all about him these sort of little sort of crab-like plates on him, and usually basically he goes into sometimes we go into water. He was grabbing some fish for the journey, which he has caught in his hands are, his fingers come to sort of sharper points. There's this part of, these sort of the shell comes down. He's kind of, and he's sort of a reddish pinkish color, and he's wearing what seems like simple tunic, which is now kind of it's very wet on him. And he's got this there's this big basket that he had set by the river that he's now loading these fish into, these few fish in that he's grabbed up, and he kind of caught, dragging up in this net that he went down with, and sort of dumping it in. And he kind of looks down and he sort of smiles down at the fish lumping up and sort of going up and down, and it's like, just sort of like, yeah, it is important. It is very important. You must have nourishment on this journey. Must have for everyone. And he closes the basket and he slings it up over his shoulder. And he starts kind of, sort of as he's a little sort of kind of hunched over, reaches down, picks up the only thing he wanted to keep dry by the river, which is his hat, which he puts on. It's this kind of little sort of pointy adventurer's hat, basically, with a feather in it. Sort of pointy on one end, floppy on the side. He puts it on. It's a strange hat. It's hard to tell what shape it is. Depends on what angle you're looking at it. From the left, it's almost triangular. From the right, it's almost like a chef's hat. It's hard to say. And he starts. It could be a raven feather that's in there, possibly. It's the right haul for it, so it's entirely possible. He's just sort of merrily makes his way up toward Ravenhall, whistling a tune. And that's where I'm going to pass my turn. And it will go down to Cat. You're going to decide where you want to place your token and how you want to introduce your character.
All right. So Piccolo has gone to the menagerie to watch the animals, and it's they're not cages, it's very open, and it's more of a park with tame animals wandering through. They come and go as they will. And Piccolo is not a young woman, but not an old woman either. She's comfortable. She looks like the person in town that everybody goes to when they need a hug and a cup of cider and an ear to listen to. And as a midwife, she births not just babies, but magic and stories. It's her responsibility or her job to ensure that these things come to life. And so she's also the storyteller of the village of Barley Town. And because she has in the past brought magic into the world through stories and other means, she's going on this journey with the mages to see if they can figure out what's going on, to see if they can get him well, because the loss of magic is it's like a grief that she carries. So she sits in her traveling dress with her sensible shoes and a little like haversack pouch, a little haversack bag with her next to her as she's watching the animals. Because magic can be found anywhere. And she's hoping to pull some of the magic that's left in the menagerie to help sustain her and the mages, to give them the boost that they need to get through this trip. And I will pass on to Megan.
You're muted?
Hello. Vigo is also going to the menagerie. And Vigo is standing in this big open park area, and there are some animals gathering in the shade he casts, because he's about 15 feet tall. And he's large. They're large and brown and craggy, almost a little tree-like in appearance. There's a hint of bark in their skin. And they're sitting and standing and looking and just surveying this place that they remember having magic. And so they have come back here to try to help find magic, because magic is leaving Mistwood as well. And they feel it as an itch. Like their skin is going dry, like there's not enough moisture in the ground. And so they've come here to speak to the Magus and find out what is going on, if it can be repaired. Because if magic goes, then Mistwood becomes something else. It doesn't die, but it just becomes different. And so they are here surveying the animals, drinking in some sun, contemplating the other trees. And I will pass on.
Well, Fawn is also in the menagerie. She walks around looking at all the different animals. Sometimes she will stop and kneel down and hold a hand out to one and whisper to it and try to get a sense for how it's feeling, because she is worried about the effects of the waning magic on all the animals and nature surrounding the area. And she wants to check in with the animals and try to get a feel for how they're faring, if they're going to survive. She just slowly wanders around the menagerie, looking at the different groups of animals, different types, talking to one after another. Mostly tuning out what's going on around her, the other people, focusing solely on the animals and occasional plant life that she sees.
You good?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. And we can, like I said, we keep doing stuff at this at Ravenhall until one of us decides, okay, instead of taking my turn this way, I'm going to move the Magus, and then we move along the path. But I'm going to do something else here. So if I may, if you're all right with Kat, I'd like to have a scene with Piccolo in the Rose Gardens.
Okay.
And it's going to be a thing where I think the Rose Gardens at Ravenhall are pretty big. There's like all manner of roses of different colors in this place. Predominantly red and white, but we also will occasionally have some of the various other colors. There is one at the middle of the garden that is multicolored. That sits kind of on top of this thing that looks kind of like a fountain. And it has been losing its petals for a considerable amount of time. For perhaps hundreds of years, we're not sure. And it too is withering and dying at this point.
I like to think that all of the roses, at least in Piccolo's memory, the last time she was here, the blooms were much more vibrant.
Yeah.
And it seems that in the last years since she's been here, they've faded. They're still colorful. They're still smell as sweet, but they're not as she remembers them.
Yeah. So you're going to see this. Sorry.
It's affecting everything, it seems like, around us.
Yeah. And so you're going to see this creature shuffling through the garden, and they're going to sort of turn and sort of look at you, and it sort of smiles. We know of you. Yes. You're a nurturer, yes.
Yes, it's you're the crab singer. I've heard of you.
I do that when I can, yes.
You've come quite a ways.
There is much of import to be done. It is good that you are here. You have something of a healing touch. It is good. You are coming with us, yes?
Yes, I am. The healing has become more mundane with the lessening of the magic. Hoping to see if we can preserve what we have, perhaps bring more. The mages, like the blooms, seems to be fading.
Yes.
We could use your songs on the journey, I think.
I shall provide. But your upkeep very important. You are known as a healer. You must continue. This shall be your gravest patient this world. I see it. Here is your fish.
Thank you. Allow me to introduce.
Reverently hands it.
She takes it with respect and a curtsy. Pardon me, but I have forgotten my name. I am Piccolo.
I know.
And you are?
They call me on land Gil.
Gil. It's
Yes.
a pleasure to meet you, Gil.
Yes, it It is easier than my full name to say. For, but this is good. This is good.
This is good.
must
The others, I understand that we have more traveling companions.
Yes.
Have you met them yet?
They have not met me.
They have not met. I saw them at the menagerie. There was a rather giant individual, literally, seemed to be of the forest, and one who was comfortable with the animals.
Good, good. Yes. The seas sing of them. The seas sing of you all. It is good. It will be good.
We have stories to birth as we travel, I think.
Yes. Very much.
Shall we go find them and
Yeah.
meet with the mages?
Immediately, he sort of nods.
And Piccolo will take the fish and wrap it properly,
Yeah.
obviously showing great respect for this gift and placing it in their pouch in a separate pocket. Like a piece of maybe like oiled cloth so that
Nice. And I would like to now where we are right now is a place where traits may be distributed, and so to complete my turn in this scene, I shall assign to you the trait of legendary. And I will now pass the turn to you.
all right. I'm going to Piccolo will walk with Gil back to the menagerie
Okay.
and search for the others that she saw and introduce herself and Gil to them. I think she'll start with the giant. And greetings. It is a true wonder to see one of your kind here. Thank you for traveling this way.
Hello. It is good to be here. I had to come, and I understand you did as well.
Yes, I am Piccolo of Barleytown, the midwife. This is Gil. They're the crab singer from Elastria.
I have heard of you, Piccolo. You water the life of your town with stories and magic, and it grows. That is good.
It is our blessing. We're blessed to do this. It is a pleasure. Here is your fish.
Thank you. I appreciate this. We do not have fish in this wood, but I understand they are good fertilizer.
Indeed, indeed.
Dago takes the fish and puts it in a pocket somewhere, which is interesting as they aren't wearing a whole lot. But it does vanish.
Did you travel alone from the Mistwood?
No. There is another. Her name is Fawn. She was talking to the animals, but I have been distracted.
Well, I believe we're soon to meet with the Magus. We should find them and... And Piccolo will begin looking around for the one that she saw earlier. The woman she saw earlier talking with the animals. You are Fawn.
Fawn was crouched down on the ground talking with a creature and oblivious to what was going on. She kind of startles and stands up. Oh, hi. Yes, I am. I'm Fawn. Nice to meet you.
I am Piccolo of Barleytown, and this is Gil, crab singer of Elastria.
Hello.
We are joining you, I believe, on this journey with the Magus.
Yes, I believe we are all supposed to be on this journey together. And Fawn is tiny. She's like not quite 5 feet, so next to the giant, it's interesting height difference.
How are the animals faring? I know that it seems as if the magic dying has affected many things. Do the animals fare well?
I am concerned. These animals here seem to be surviving. They aren't thriving. Something feels wrong. I have gathered from them that they are doing better here in the menagerie than some of their friends outside. They are concerned too. They don't understand what's going on, but they know something is very wrong here.
Hopefully we can ease their suffering.
Yeah, so
You have completed your sacred communications with the creatures, yes?
yes, I have for now.
Ah, then here is your fish.
Oh, thank you. She looks a little confused. She takes it and puts it in a leather pouch.
It's,
Yes.
Tries to
It's-
kind of wrap it in some paper that's in there.
Yeah, it's kind of wrapped in a little thing. Yeah.
and I think at this point, if I may, the Magus would join us.
Sure. Do you want someone to play the Magus?
I'll let you do it.
Okay. Would you like to describe them? It's your scene.
The person I'm picturing is somebody who was, not too many years ago, a very robust individual. Almost like a Friar Tuck kind of a person.
Mhm.
Maybe not too, it's quite so poorly, but definitely strong, powerful, full of life and energy. This was a person strong in mind and heart as well as body. And now they look like somebody who has been through a long illness. Their flesh hangs a bit from the frame. Their skin has become pale, taken on almost a gray tinge to it. Like the tree, there's the dryness to the skin. They don't have the luster of life to them that they used to. It's almost as if you take the aspects that are noticed within the blooms and the animals and where the loss of magic all have kind of come to affect this person in some way.
Okay.
And if anybody wants to add any details as to their appearance, please.
Okay. So, I think they'll step forward, kind of leaning on, leaning like on a staff, something someone has given them. Ah, and what's going on here then?
Master Magus, how are you?
I am well. I am as well as I feel the world is at present. But I am gladdened to I'm gladdened to see you all. Are we prepared?
Yes, I believe we are. Vego, Vaughn, and Gil are all here.
You very, I think you very. I don't know if you have any of you met the Magus before. Okay, and so I think that they'll come forward and just kind of extend their hand. It's a pleasure. It is a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much. Sort of will be coming through and to each of you and sort of seems to express a great deal of almost saddened thanks to each of you, just as he's sort of like, as they're sort of like just holding it together. I am glad there are those who still believe. Very glad. And you will note when he gets to Gil, he refuses the fish. Not yet. Not yet.
Is there any advice you can give us before we set out on our journey?
I have found that whenever I take a journey of any kind, I learn more from the journey itself than from its destination. As we go, look around and look within, and I can almost promise you new things shall be revealed to you. I very much look forward to this. Probably hold my hands on the other side to distinguish me only.
I think I'd like to pass the seat on if we're ready to begin the journey.
And that's it's up to Sphinx if you want to still do some more stuff at Ravenhall, or if you want to move the Magus. It's totally up to you. I think you're muted again.
I'll get used to it eventually, I swear.
Oh, no worries.
I would like to move the Magus and begin the journey.
Okay, so what you'll do is you're moving down the line. So the next destination is the Oak Hills. So you move the Raven token to the Oak Hills, and you get to you describe the location and its story prompt from the perspective of the Magus. So the story prompt is the ending of summer, and so you get to basically say, describe as the Magus is coming in what's happening.
The Oak Hills during spring and summer are green and lush, thick with rain, heavy, perfect for rolling down if you were a child, or for sitting on if you were less of a child. But now, like the Magus, they are withered, they are less, they have diminished as magic has gone through. It's the ending of summer, but it feels like not just a season turning, but a definite change in the world, a shift, an imbalance as magic goes away.
Excellent.
How does the Magus respond to this?
Yeah, and it's your turn, so you get to control the Magus, basically. Unless you want someone else to, that's up to you. Yeah, it's really, when it's your turn, it's like you're the Magus, basically.
Okay. The Magus looks upon them and sighs and says that once these were very much alive, and once these are where I would come to refresh myself and to become stronger and to rest. But now I come here and I feel that I must rest them, but I don't know how. And I'm hoping all of you can help me replenish them in time. To which Vago says, yes, you are right. These are depleted. They make me feel the way everything feels now. Itchy. Like having termites. And with that, I will pass the turn along.
Alright, so now we go to any of these places within the Oak Hills.
Mm-hmm. We got
I will
Harper's
go
Road,
to-
making a camp, firelight, and at dawn.
Morning ritual. Fawn wakes up every morning, sits outside and absorbs the sunrise, just meditating and taking in some peaceful moments before beginning her day. And then she gets up and sort of patrols the area, walking around, talking to the occasional animal, communing with nature, if you will, getting a feel for how the surrounding flora and fauna are doing, if they seem to be thriving, if they are dry or feeling off from the lack of magic. And she can sense that over time they're slowly declining, not as vibrant and healthy as they once were. She's concerned. Each morning it seems a little worse. She's not sure if it's actually declining every day that noticeably, or if it's her own concerns and feels growing every day. She just enjoys the morning occasionally, sits and talks with one of the other party members who are awake, and enjoys breakfast. She does a little foraging on her walk around, gathers any berries she can find to share with her. Brings them back and offers handfuls to each of the party members. Sort of gives a report to everyone what she found, that she's concerned. Everything is still alive and growing, but waning. that, I'll pass my turn on to Gil.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
How does Fawn's ritual here different from the one they perform at home?
It is essentially the same, just a new area. Sort of what she does every day, regardless of where she is. She gets out in nature as much as possible. If she's staying in a city, it might be less so, maybe just a nearby open area. She enjoys being outside, out camping, out near woods and pastures where she has more open area. So
Sorry.
it's essentially the same, just more in nature when she gets the chance.
Has she traveled far from Mistwood before?
Not far. She's gone to some of the other nearby areas. Just on the map. Most of this. She's gone to some surrounding areas, not very far from home. She's been over to the Oak Hills before. She hadn't been as far as Ravenholm before, though. So this area is vaguely familiar to her, but not very.
Cool. Yeah. And that's actually, as a reminder, folks, anyone's welcome to jump in with questions at any point if they want to, if they want further detail on things. But all right, was that it? Do you have you good? Okay. So what I think, if I may, is I would like to walk along Harper's Road with Vago. Was it Vago? Vago? How were we saying it?
Vago.
Vago. Okay. Cool. And so I think as we're heading along, there's sort of we're all sort of kind of we've been kind of moving, and sort of come up next to you as we're coming through this area that's kind of got this canopy of taller trees above us, where sunlight is filtering down through, and I'll nod and I've been kind of humming. I've been singing a little bit, and then sort of come up and it's like, that was from my that one is taught to me by my grandchild. It's a very budding young musician. You have family?
In a sense. At one point I was small, and now I am large. And the trees around me are close to me, but I cannot point to one as a mother or father. I was not, and now I am. I do not think very much on it. Do you have many young ones?
Oh no, only 15. It is not. It is not many, but they have in turn. The grandchildren. Oh, there are many.
Do you live upon the land or in the water?
Yes.
Very good.
Yes. We try to cast our net of understanding. Not everyone listens, unfortunately. It is a strange thing. It is a strange thing in Estalia. We have We have an understanding with the Gilded One that is such that they allow us to do our musics and guard the shores, and in turn for guarding the shores, they allow us to bring the understanding of flow of life to those among us, around us. But it is difficult. Those of the land do not always listen.
I understand that. We listen differently. Not everyone hears what I hear, and so I also tell them. Fawn is similar, but she speaks to the animals. I listen to the trees. It is good to have people who can listen and tell.
It is good. It is good. Not as many listen now as did. Some of my grandchildren now have gone to live just in the city. It is difficult. They give me concern over our task. I worry the world does not wish us any longer to be what we were.
Each year, it becomes harder to leave the forest, and yet here I am, for I must go. But I understand this feeling that no one wants you, or that there is no place for you anymore.
This is why what we do is very important, for only we can secure that which must be preserved. For those who are close to us. I think that's all I've got, unless there was anything else you wanted to say. All right, cool. Shall pass on to Kat.
So Piccolo sits by the firelight of the camp, and as the others eventually come to join, she begins to sing songs, and she will ask Gil to teach her a song that provides them comfort when they're far from home. And in turn, she will ask Fawn and Vago to tell a story that of something that gives them comfort when they're far from home, or makes them feel less homesick when they're away. And in this way, she comforts herself by doing what she does in Barleytown, which is give birth to the magic of song and stories that provide comfort. And she'll turn to Gil and say, it's a way of feeding the heart and the mind, as well as the body. And the comfort for her, it comforts her, reminds her of home. This fire, the warmth, the companionship, the voices, different voices telling stories and singing songs. and she would ask, they go first. What is it that provides you comfort when you're far from home?
Hmm. That the knowledge that if an acorn falls, it will grow and there will be another tree. Not with every acorn, but with some. And in that way, things continue.
And Fawn, what is it that comforts you when you're far from home?
Being outside, around trees, my blanket that I brought with me, that that I made, that's been with me on my journeys around patrolling the woods. Familiar and comforting. Being able to speak with animals and find familiar foods in the woods, even.
And Gil?
Listen. Yes. It will rain soon. I hear the water coming. It is good. The life flows through the world. If you listen carefully enough, you can hear it.
And the Magus? What is it that comforts you?
Who would you like to answer?
I think Megan brought the Magus here, so.
I am comforted that when I called, people came. They came to help me. It is hard for me to find hope in the world right now or in myself, but I find hope in knowing that people wanted to help me, and people listened, and people understood what is happening in the world and want to help me and help the world. So thank you for the comfort and the hope and your presence and the fish.
And with that, I think just kind of as a flashback, I would like to have Piccolo and Fawn making camp together. I've watched you, Fawn, with the animals. You have a gentleness. How did you come to who you are?
I don't really know. I've always felt close to the animals. Sometimes when I was a child, I would tell people I spoke to the animals, and they kind of laughed it off. And then when I tried to tell them what the animals told me back, or what I could feel from the animals, and what I could sense of how they were feeling, then I would just get strange looks, and I started to realize that wasn't normal, that most people didn't get that like I thought. I don't understand why I have that ability, but I try to use it to help animals, to help people who work with animals, and try to take care of the animals in the forest.
And as they make camp together, Piccolo, having watched Fawn go through their morning ritual and help with setting up camp, I'd like to give Fawn the trait of kind.
Grabbing a second turn, are we?
And then I'm passing on my turn.
There's one location per turn, damn you! No, it's fine. Go ahead.
Sorry.
So
Oh, hey, look, we have a bot.
I will come and join in making camp. Vigo doesn't really understand the concept of tents, but they do understand that smaller, less tree things, people need them. So he's very happy to hold things, which is helpful. And they will bring Magus to camp. Wait, no, that's not the Magus. Where's the Magus? Magus, where are we going next? Do you know? What path are we following and why?
Who would you like to be the Magus?
Would Kestrel like to be the Magus?
Okay. We're following not any certain path that I had in mind yet, just as we go, as we take in the places around us and get the wisdom of each of you in the party, we can choose as we go, feel what our journey should be together, and build it together.
Very good. Thank you. So, Vega will also talk to Piccolo? Do you have an idea of why magic is leaving? You use it so much as part of you and what you do that I had wondered if you had thought about it.
As the world moves on and grows and changes, I think there are fewer of us who can feel the connection to the magic and can find the magic. The magic is more than just the abilities that our Magus has. It's little things. And as those little things are neglected or go out of fashion, the magic dies a little. At least I'm hopeful that this is why magic is fading, because this is something that we can fix. My greatest fear is that when we get to the end of our journey, that we will find something that is threatening.
Yes. I think this is a good way of thinking about it. I too worry that there is something at the end of this journey that will be dangerous, or that will prove to be destroying magic in some way. But perhaps not. I do not like to think about that. and going to take the opportunity to give Gil the trait of wealthy
Oh,
in fish and in children.
nice.
Vigo has interesting concepts of wealth.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome.
And I will pass on my turn.
All right, I think I would like to move on to Barleytown now.
Okay. So, yeah, go ahead and move the Magus and tell us about Barleytown and the hospitality of the Barley Lord.
So let's go to the Inn of the Axe and Fiddle
Right.
first.
Well, yeah, this won't count necessarily as going right in there, so this is more just everything sort of from the Magus perspective about Barleytown overall. But you can certainly incorporate the Inn of the Axe and Fiddle in there if you want. It's
Okay.
yeah.
So as we go in, I would like to talk to the Magus and to ask him about his relationship with the Barley Lord, if he knows him and if they are on good terms.
Well, since you're the one moving the Magus, you essentially get to decide those things if you like. So if you want, you can describe that, what the Magus says, or if you'd rather someone... Hey, we can do this any way you like. You can have someone else do it, or you can speak for the Magus, however you want to do this.
Guess I'll have you do it, so I'm not talking to myself.
Okay. Just so I'll have an idea, are we feeling more good, more neutral, or more negative as far as the Magus's reactions here?
I was thinking more good.
Okay. Now, the Barley Lord and I go back quite a ways. It's been some time since the Barley Lord, I think, it's hard to explain, really. In a way, it's almost a ceremonial post. It's really more about the town itself. There are good people here, very good.
That is good to know. Do you know if they've been badly affected by the downfall of magic?
I feel that if any town could survive the downfall of magic, it would be this one. They understand, it seems, the fundamental relationship with the land that they have. They do understand magic's place in it. But it is through this understanding that I think they will do all right. Some even will call them celebrants of life. They have so many festivals here. But it's important. They know. They see how it is all connected.
Hopefully sometime we can come back and see one of those festivals and enjoy the town musician.
I sincerely hope so.
So then we go into the inn and see what it's like, see what the people are doing, what the mood is of the place. And we go in and find, despite the concerns settling over the land in general. People here are taking the evening to enjoy themselves at the inn, sitting down together over drinks and dinner and singing together. Mostly songs of their own region, with occasionally someone belting out a song from across the land, or playing out something on a flute, or beating out a drum beat. And it seems to be a jovial group of people. And I will pass the turn on to Gil.
Okay. I think what we're going to do, if folks are good with it, is we're going to go ahead and go to break, as we're at about the halfway point as far as the time goes. And so we'll break for 5-10 minutes, whatever we need, and then we will be back. So we will see you all shortly. Hello, we have returned. And I think it is back around to my turn if I'm remembering correctly. All right. Well, it's in the name, so I have to do this. I have to go to the end of the axe and fiddle. Which is, as previously described, there's many tables about. A lot of people carrying songs from place to place. And I think that Gil has been sitting there very, very pleasantly observing, watching with the others. And eventually, I think someone will come up and ask him to sing. And he'll step forward, take down his hat, and he will begin again this sounds that come forth from him. This very sort of haunting thing that I can't do because I have a human larynx. But eventually, he kind of is accompanying himself with this as he brings out these words, and I do not have the melody, sadly, but I'm not going to recite the whole thing. But here is a part of it that perhaps some folks have heard. And it goes in part, "Come list ye landsmen all to me, to tell the truth I'm bound, what happened to me by going to sea, and all the wonders I found. Shipwrecked I was one sappy rouse, and cast all on the shore. So I resolved to take a cruise, the country to explore. I had not long scurried out, when close alongside the ocean, 'twas there I saw something move, like all the earth in motion. While steering close up alongside, I saw it was a crocodile. From the end of his nose to the tip of his tail, it measured 500 mile. This crocodile, I could plainly see, was none of the common race, for I had to climb a very high tree before I could see his face. And when he lifted up his jaw, perhaps you may think it a lie, but his back was 3 miles through the clouds, and his nose near touched the sky." And the song goes on. It's about the life cycle of this crocodile, from beginning to end.
Where did you learn such a song?
And when he's done, in the end where he talks about the death of the crocodile, where he fell, and you will find the shell of this wonderful crocodile. And he steps forward and says, it was some time ago, but there are many sailors in Estadia. As we speak of the cycles of creatures. I myself adapted it some to speak more of the crocodile in question. I met her once. It was long ago. It is, at times it elaborates. She was not quite that long.
And do any of your children or grandchildren sing?
Yes, children. My children, all 15, they are taught. Yes, they know. It was very important as they were growing up. The grandchildren, I would say about half. better part of 2/3. Not all of them. They do not all follow the ways of preservation. They wish to accept what they are told is in the now. They do not see where things go in the future. But it is their decision. They must live their lives. It is the only way.
So you midwife magic as well through song?
Yes, yes. We birth it, we help it grow, and we watch it through its life. And if need be, we help it to reach its conclusion. And I think I'm going to pass my turn before I start diving any sadder. This is my want!
Ah. Piccolo, this is her home, Farleytown. This is where she's from. And she, after listening to Gil sing and the songs, she wanders off to what's known as Swine Hill and remembers a battle that was fought long ago and was where she learned how to birth magic through story and the telling of tales from a young swineherd that she met there. And he told her of the tales. The battle was not so much one that was fought between soldiers or knights, but between swineherds and pigs. And it was a battle for, how do we put this? For the best spots, for the best mud. The pigs, the swine, they enjoyed the warm places to wallow near the riverbank that is close by. And the swineherds, they also enjoyed the warm places near the banks of the river for a different reason, because it was a nice place to stay and watch over the herds. And the battle, as battles between swineherds and pigs go, was a dirty one, if you will. Lots of mud was involved, slung around. And Piccolo sits in the sun on the hill overlooking the river. No, it's not really a river. They call it a river. It's more like a creek. And smiles as she remembers the story of the battle and the birthing of magic. I'll pass my scene on.
Viego gamely came into the inn, though it was not easy for them, and spent most of the time sitting on the floor with their knees up to their chin, still being about as tall as everybody else. Vigo does not sing, but occasionally produced a sort of thrumming bass line to accompany others. So, desperately in need of a stretch and to get away from just all the peopleness of it, Vigo is going to go out to Matilda's farm. Vigo starts to wander through the nearby agricultural landscape just to get a little farther away from being crowded and having to worry about stepping on people or just people running into them. So they come upon a farm, and there they find out working in the field a Matilda, who, looking up, sees a 15-foot tall person with rather rough skin standing and watching them till, and asks them, "What on earth are you? Would anybody like to be Matilda?"
I mean, I'll do it if no one else wants it.
Great.
All right. So I guess we'll start from there. What on earth are you?
I am myself. I am not quite a tree, as you would see it. What are you?
Concerned. Just a little bit at the moment. I'm a farmer. You,
I've heard of farmers.
yeah.
They grow things. That's good.
So you're not here for, I assume you're not here to grab up anything. Do you need
What
something?
would I need?
That's a good question, isn't it? I mean, I got a bit of an eye for this sort of thing. It's not the usual customer, but I suppose if you're here to do something, you're here to do something.
I am on a journey with some other people. They may need things that I do not understand.
You,
We are trying to find why magic is dying.
Oh, yes. Nobody's supporting it anymore. It's got to actually have people. Got to have people willing to. Have people ain't afraid to actually do the right things with it. Have you got enough sustenance?
I have a fish. The others also have fish. The fish may be somewhat worse for wear.
It's not a lot. All right, look. Are the rest of your friends like you?
No. One is very small. One is not as small, but is still small. And one sings, and has the fish. And one is old, but was not always so.
Right. Okay.
Do you know Piccolo? She comes from
Oh
here.
yeah.
She is
yeah,
with
yeah, I
us.
know her. Go back ages. Oh. Oh, you're with Piccolo's with you. Piccolo.
Yes.
Huh. I guess you're all right then.
I
Okay.
would think so.
You need. You taking through like roots, something like that. You need
Probably.
sustenance. Okay.
I require little.
Water.
Do you know what Piccolo would need?
Oh yeah. Oh well. I've told her a few times what she needs, but she tends to argue with me on that point. But I'll see if let me see if I can get some supplies together for you and your group. Just see if it'll help. Because I think you might not need a lot of sustenance of the maybe not of the usual kind, but maybe more of the well, kind that brings hope, yeah?
Yes, I think so.
I think I got something. And she retreats in. And a few moments later, she's going to come back with a basket.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is your scene, so you can veto any of this if you wish.
No, this is fine.
And she says, "Alright, so there's some supplies here, things, a bit of, for if anyone eats them, things like meat and cheese, that kind of thing, so you're not just having fish. But also," she reaches in. And she picks up like this very slim book. She says, "This for Piccolo. She'll probably be incredibly surprised I'm returning it to her. And these." And she reaches in and she into the bottom of the basket. You see there's this little pouch which she picks up and she opens it and she shows there are some acorns in there.
Thank you.
"I think these will probably help fit that description. You plant these wherever you want them to watch over things, and they'll do it for you. You know that better than me, I expect."
Thank you. This is kind and thoughtful. Also, that patch of grass over there, it needs more water. It's itchy.
Sort of blinks, looking at it. "Yeah, I'll see to that then.
Very good. Thank you.
If there's any magic left in the world, it's in these things."
They do not feel itchy, so you are right, and that is true. Thank you.
You have a
And
good
so-
journey.
Vago turns and walks away as they have come, slowly and deliberately, heading back towards the town to find the others and bring them what they have gathered from some poor farm woman out of their fields.
I love how everyone is small, because that totally makes sense. They are.
I mean, I am small, so I'm trying to imagine what being tall is like.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's so good.
And with that, I will pass on my turn.
It is muted. I am also small, so to me, everybody else is tall. Alright, I think I would like to move us on to the Stormguard Mountains, if that is alright with
Okay.
everyone.
Yeah, we have, just so you're aware, we have a choice. So you can totally go to Stormguard if you want. The other choice is Mistwood. So that's because so you get the fork in it. So you get to decide.
I will go to Mistwood then, since that is where Fawn is from.
Okay. And so yeah, basically this is kind of like I said, your turn is the Magus's turn this time. So it's basically what from the perspective of the Magus, Mistwood,
Alright.
and what slows you down.
What slows us down? Like as a party coming into the forest?
Yeah, sure, that's fine. Or whatever the Magus thinks slows us down. The great thing about this is it's really open to interpretation, so you can kind of lean in a number of different directions with it.
As we're walking in toward the forest, Fawn walks alongside the Magus, telling him of her home and that that's where she comes from and how she's looking forward to going home again. And they come to a path, and in their path they come to a place where there are trees that have fallen down the road. And Fawn stops and closes her eyes for a moment and meditates and takes in everything from the forest around her and says, the tree is here. They are sick. Some of these trees are rotting, and that is why they fell into the path. I am concerned about what the fall of magic is doing to my homeland. And she asks everyone, would you like to try to clear a path, or shall we find a path through the woods around?
I believe I can be of assistance. Vago looks at the fallen trees and walks forward and touches each one of them and makes that same low humming sound that they made in the inn when people were singing. It's very deep. You can feel it a little bit in the ground. It goes down. And then they start to heave the trees out of the way, but in a very respectful manner. All the while humming in low, echoing tones.
On just calls up to Vago, thank you, good friend.
Of course.
Once the trees are cleared, they continue on. Then, do I incorporate one of the other things, or
it's
are those
usually
for separate turns?
Yeah, usually that's for separate turns.
Okay. Then I will go ahead and pass my turn on.
Okie doke. Let's see. Dee. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go for the foraging. We're foraging here. The lesson you teach. And then I shall have to make a roll in a moment to figure out what it means. Of course, anytime we hit a point where there's a random possibility for how it turns out. It's peril, basically. Numbered story prompt is peril. I describe the first line as I would a regular story, then when I'm finished I roll a die and I describe the result. So I think the lesson that lesson Gil teaches here is yes, there are places where if you look to the right place, there are places, even though they seem to be drying up, that you just have to listen carefully enough and you can hear where the water is. And you must focus in your mind upon it, the life flowing through the earth. You can hear it. And I'm going to roll a die. I got a 6. Foxes! And he's like, yes, you hear it? And I think anyone else who is there with him, sort of he's like sort of lowering his voice a little bit. Yes, do you hear it? You can hear it. Creeping up, coming closer, closer. You hear it? Here it comes. And I think over the through the underbrush, this family of foxes, like dives up and through and starts running through. And he's just like, as he just opens his eyes, watching the expressions as the foxes burst out and start running all over the place. And I think that's it. I think that's all I'm going to do with that scene.
Do the foxes smell the fish? Are they coming for the fish?
I think they are. They knew.
Fawn pulls hers out of the bag and crouches down and holds it out to try to get a fox to approach her.
Okay. I think that it probably. I think it probably does. You know, it's like they're hungry, so they're gonna.
She lets it take the fish and just sits there happy to watch the foxes.
Yeah. So this little family of foxes is out where Gil has previously he'd buried like a couple of fish just so that they would come out and do that. Basically.
Vigo also pulls out their fish and puts it down on the ground and then stands back up, having absolutely no idea of why this is funny, but generally being happy that there are foxes there and happy that they are taking the fish.
Mm. And I think Gil will sort of nod and say, by bringing sometimes the lifeblood of the earth needs help. We must bring sometimes the sea to the land. As this is done, the land remembers its lifeblood. And we can hope the water returns. It is now more likely. And he begins just sort of drifting off and starting to hum again. And I think, unless anyone else has anything they want to leap in with here, I'm going to pass on.
I think we were slowed down, and as our journey continues, the Magus is starting to feel the urgency. He's already noticed how much the land has been affected by the loss of the magic, and this, as much as he understands that Fawn and Bago are looking for the comfort of their home in the Mistwood, he feels it's time that they continue forward. They've lost so much time, and he feels an urgency. And so he takes us on into the Hall of the Woods and the hospitality of the Grey Rangers, whom he greets as long-lost friends. He's traveled this road before. It's part of his duties as magus. And these Grey Rangers have difficulty hiding the shock at his appearance. The last time they saw him, he was so robust, so full of life, and now he's withered and tired. And they take them escort the party to the lodge of the Grey Rangers, which is a large communal building. There is a barracks as well as a dining hall, and they are organized in a way that they keep watch. They not so much do they care for the land as they protect it, they guard it. And as we all sit down, as the magus accepts their hospitality and takes a seat and They bring a meal that was cooked not over a campfire, but one that is made in the dining hall with the other Grey Rangers. And they speak in hushed tones of what is happening. And there are always in the background the whispers of the other Rangers at the other tables of the appearance of the mages and what it means. And we'll pass the scene on.
Vago doesn't actually like the Grey Rangers very much. They have different ideas about forest management. So Vago has still come inside. They hit their head, but they are still determined not to be openly rude, but they are surlier than usual and quieter than usual, and not particularly convivial. Shortly, as soon as is possible without appearing openly rude, Vago stalks out and finds themselves at the Wild Altar. Vago has been concerned about the pace of the journey and is strongly tempted to go back towards the Mistwood. It's their home, it's where their trees are, it's where their grove is, and they are not sure about what lies ahead. But going to the Wild Altar, which is something that the Grey Rangers have not created, helps them to feel more centered and more sure about their choices. And so they go out there and they stand in the moonlight, listening to the trees and trying to ignore the hum of the big building so close to their forest. Would anyone like to jump in here?
What is it about this place that makes it so very special for Vago?
The Wild Altar grew itself, but Vago was there when it was created, and Vago suspects that they do not know that it had something to do with their creation. The Wild Altar blooms in the spring, more vividly than anywhere else in the forest, with flowers that aren't seen anywhere else. It is seen as a place of life and of springtime desire, from which magic and life comes in the forest. Vago doesn't like how close the Grey Rangers' Hall is to the altar, though that is probably why they built it there. They sense it as well. So this is like coming home to something that was important to you as a child, something that you connect with. And then, someone's built like an ugly apartment building next to it.
Are there others like Vago here?
There are. There are not many of them, but they are there. And they talk to each other, or they sense each other through the ground. But every once in a while, another one appears, or one of them disappears. They don't ask a lot of questions about it. It is just the way it is.
Is there... Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just wondering what in this area or of this altar might engender or make evident a fresh desire.
As Vigo approaches the altar, even though it is the end of summer, it is fall, the magic is leaching out of the world, a bud appears and blooms and opens. And Vigo looks at it and realizes that there is desire for life, and there is desire to keep going. So Vigo is somewhat invigorated by this. They don't experience carnal desire as such, they experience desire for the world and for life. And so they bend forward and gently look at the flower and gently touch it and hum again. And then turn around and with something of a sigh, go back to stand outside the hall. They're not going in again because they might hit their head, and also there's a big fire in there and they don't like it. You get deeply formed opinions when you live as long as Vigo does. And unless anyone else would like to join in here, I will pass on my turn.
Okay, well, Fawn walks out of the hall, makes her way down to Spirit Lake. She sits on the shore of the lake, meditates, takes in the breeze across the surface of the lake, enjoys the smells of the woods around her mingled with the lake, and just sits for a while, restoring her soul after being around people for a while. And then she gets up and walks around, makes her way to a couple of rangers that she sees standing there also looking over the lake, and just stands in silence for a few moments until a small conversation begins. They talk a little about where they've come from, and she finally asks what they have that they can teach her or advice they can give her before continuing on her journey. They tell her a little bit about the surrounding area and take some time teaching her how to further continue her ranger abilities, how to track things through the forest, bits of advice they've picked up and skills they've picked up over the years of doing this for decades before her, how to stealthily make your way through the forest, and sharing the knowledge of being in this one place for a long time and the decline that they've seen in the surrounding nature from the fall of magic. The trees slowly becoming more bent and worn, and occasionally becoming rotted and falling down far before they should according to their age. They share rising number of animals that they have found sick and just lethargic, injured in ways they couldn't understand, and how they've been growing concerned about the spreading disease, it would seem, from magic failing around the land.
Has
That's
Fawn
my
ever,
turn on. Unless someone else is your turn.
has Fawn ever considered joining the Grey Rangers?
She has heard tale of them. She had never been to their home before. She had met some through her travels, or some of them who traveled to Mistwood. And it was something that she always had in the back of her mind, that she may eventually want to join them. After she spent some time out on her own, out joining other adventures, exploring the world for a bit, and figuring out her own desires before joining up with them. But it is something that is a potential for her eventually.
Does she feel as Vaco does about their encroachment upon places like the altar?
She feels unsure. She um she likes it there better than places like Graven Hall and Barleytown, which while she enjoyed seeing, she would not want to stay for long because it is so big, it takes over so much of the land that she would rather see wild and free. But she also sees a need for community to go home to. So she sees it as sort of a necessary evil as long as it doesn't encroach further than necessary. I'll pass my turn on to Gil unless anyone else wants to contribute.
Yeah. I think it's. I I think I may mention that it might be possible that Gil has probably gone and gotten fish out of this lake as well, but we don't need to see that necessarily. It's the thing that happened. Would folks be alright with my moving the Magus? Okay. We're gonna move on to Spirit River. So, knowing how and understanding how some are feeling less than comfortable here, wanting to and not wanting to take up too much of the hospitality of the Rangers. There is something of an urgency now, the Magus says, that they did not possess before. Perhaps, and he looks even slightly more, if possible, even more gaunt and thin than before. As we try to get further. As we move along toward this river. It is a river, a regular river, called Spirit River, but there is... Some say that this is where the greatest concentration of spirits are. And the Magus is telling us this as we're proceeding. And as he does so, I think he's going to nod to our ranger, Fawn. And who mentioned... Can you tell they're behind us? Don't look.
Can I tell they are behind us? There's something behind us. I don't know what. I am afraid to look. It doesn't feel familiar to me.
We have yet to see how it will turn, but it is a force that could be positive, but could also spell our end for the spirit of the stuff of magic is here, spirits of them coming up, stalking us as we move along this river. It will be judging us as well.
Have you ever felt this before?
It has been some time. And I don't know if we are going to make it to our destination, but again, as this part of the journey is very significant. What we do here will have a bearing on what comes of the world. And unless anyone has any questions, I think that's my turn. I'll pass on.
Piccolo, having been close by over here, this conversation wanders out into the tall grass with her affinity for magic and the words of the mages ringing in her ears. She sits and tries to see what is hidden from view from here. The magic that flows through here. It is a different kind of magic, although it is magic. It is not like what the magic that she gives birth to when she brings a life into the world, or a story, or a song. And so she sits in the tall grass and tries to see what's hidden from view here, trying to feel the magic of the spirits and connect with that magic. And she's felt her own magic waning. Perhaps this is a new magic, a new way of understanding magic that she can help use to give birth to more. And if no one else says anything, I will pass on.
Vago sees Piccolo in the long grass and remembers something from the town that they were in. Vago's memory is good but slow and needs prompting occasionally. So Vago goes to the long grass and looks down at Piccolo, as Vago always does. Says, "Hello.
Hello.
I have two things for you. One that I think may help, and one that is not quite a gift, but they said was a surprise." So Vago reaches into one of their mysterious pockets and pulls out a little pouch, out of which they pull out an acorn, which they present to you very solemnly.
Hiko takes it very, holding out her hands, and takes it reverently with, "This is the promise of magic.
Yes.
You too bring life and give birth to magic. Just as Gil midwives through song, you midwife as well."
Yes. Just as I grow things, you grow things. That is all part of the magic.
I thank you for this gift.
It was not mine to give strictly, it was given to me. There is one more thing. They reach into another pocket and pull out a book, a small book, and they give it to you. They say, "I do not know what it is, but the woman in the town said that you would be surprised that she was giving it back to you. I hope it is welcome."
With that, Piccolo laughs, and it's a joyous sound. There's been little joy lately with the magic fading and with this journey and the sense of urgency, but this is joy. And they, after carefully taking the acorn and putting it in a pouch, they accept the book, I said, you met Matilda.
Yes, I think so. Some of her grass was itchy, but she was nice.
That, yes, that would be Matilda. Her grass is often itchy. Um, and they look at the book. She says, we were children together, and when I was learning to tell tales, this book was given to me,
Hmm.
and I was trying to help others learn to tell tales. And Matilda, being my friend, I wanted to share that with her, and then she kept the book. It's been many years. I've almost forgotten these stories. And just laughing and smiling. And would you like to hear one?
Yes.
And Piccolo, pats the ground for Vego to come sit. Uh, and we'll open up the book and at random choose a story to read and hopefully birth a little more magic into the world along with the acorn.
Hmm. As she tells the story, the acorn gets a little warm and splits and grows a very small sprout.
We should plant this, I think, here.
Yes.
It is not too itchy.
No. The river is here. The river is full of magic. Nothing here is itchy. It's very nice.
And I think Piccolo and Vego together will birth
Hmm.
a little bit of magic.
With that, I will pass on my turn.
I will go to by starlight. Let's see. Bed down for the night one evening. Fawn sits up later than usual until the sky is covered in stars and it's everyone else around her has grown quiet. She just sits there looking up at the sky, thinking. And after a little while, the Magus, who she believed to be asleep, gets up and goes to sit beside her and just watches her for a moment and then asks, is everything all right? What are you doing? She takes a moment to think before answering, and then says, I wish I had known sooner, had done something. I have felt for a while that something was wrong in the world, that everything was growing more feeble, more weak. But I didn't know for a while what was wrong. And even once I started to hear tale of the magic dying in the world and started to realize what was going on, I still just watched and waited and patrolled the wood. And I can't help but wonder, what if we had done something sooner? What if I had gone to the Grey Rangers and then we had gone to someone else and continued on until we found someone who could heal the land, someone who knew what was wrong, who could help do something about the magic to save our world, because Because I fear for it. I fear for these trees. I fear for my homeland. I especially feel fear for all the animals and all the people who are burdened and hurt by the waning magic. And I just wonder if something could have been done. And the Magus just sits there for a moment and then tells her, I don't think that is your responsibility to bear. I think if anyone could have done something, it could have been me, but I haven't known what to do either, which is why I finally assembled people, yourself included. Maybe we can find something that can be done. If not, we will find a way to continue. And tomorrow we'll continue and see where our path takes us on this journey together. Unless anyone has something to contribute, I will pass my turn.
So, before I take my turn, just as I'm looking at the clock here, I just wanted to ask, do we want this next round to be our last round, or do we want to go a bit longer?
Wrapping things up would probably be good.
Yeah, we can take last round.
Yeah, last round sounds okay.
All right. So, I'm trying to decide whether to move or to, well, I mean, when you're playing a crab person and there's a prompt that says fishing, you probably should go to that prompt. And I was thinking about advancing us to either the mouth of the deep or Estalia, but I think there's. If you know, I'm going to go ahead and do the fishing prompt. I think that's probably narrative demands. So, my first question is, who would like to be a river spirit?
I'll be a river spirit.
Okay. Because this is going to take place in the river. And I think there will be a question getting posed here of some kind. Gil has been is swimming back and forth in the river. And he's got his net. He's coming forth and catching fish. And I think he will, as he is preparing to head back to the surface, he will see one of these spirits that's kind of been sort of following them along with the river there. Perhaps not exactly barring his way, but definitely wanting to be noticed. Which is unusual for these kinds of spirits, I would think. And he will look, and he will, as best as one can do underwater, he will bow to it. And he will ask, in the language of the sea, to what do I owe this honor?
We were wondering what you're doing here in a river. It's not often we get people a bit salty like you.
It is, It is more difficult to breathe in the water here, but it is doable. We are here on a matter of import. We are bringing the magus to the place of magic's origin, if we can.
Do you know where that is?
The magus wishes to go to a place known as the Glow, or that which is Umbra, the realm of Umbra.
We have streams and rivulets that go that far. I could not direct you there.
Oh yes. He says that would be of great help.
Very good. You planning on taking many fish?
And says these were the what I was going to take. It was for the renewal as we proceed.
Suppose that's fine. Suppose that's an okay number of fish. You staying around here long? You moving on?
And he will look out and says, "This is a lovely place, but we must we have a perilous journey ahead to try to restore the magic. There is much that it will take."
I felt the magic going out. The river doesn't flow as strong. The other spirits are quiet. You don't know why it's happening. I hope you can find out that you can fix it. You can come back and put some fish back in the river at some point. Be nice of you. Be respectful. Anyway, you're gonna promise me something. Good?
You have my word that I shall return here once we are done
Good?
and sing to you of our journey and its effect upon the cycle.
You can maybe leave out the singing. It'd be nice if you came back. And if you don't, I'll go down the streams and I'll find your deltas. And I'll go and I'll sing something to you. Very good then. The rather grumpy spirit fades back into the river, having obtained a promise.
Yes, he gave this his word, fully intending to fulfill this promise that he will be making it back. And that's my turn. He says of the prompt, a promise you won't keep.
All right.
So it's on to Cat.
I think, as loath as they all are to leave this place where there's magic, they still have a journey ahead of them, though they may not make it. And the Magus moves them on to Estalia. And we'll bring Gil up close and say, I can smell the sea, and yet I fear we may not make it across. there's life in the sea. But here also the magic fades. And he'll look to Vago, knowing that the salty lands are perhaps not as healthy for one who's used to fresh water. And then at Fawn, who has never perhaps has not met creatures like those here. And at Piccolo, who he knows has never traveled this far. And he'll ask them each in turn, if this is where the magic dies, will you try to continue on? Or will you return to your homes? Because the Magus knows that he's not strong and may not survive the journey. That this could very well be where his journey ends.
I will continue on for as long as I can. I will keep going until I can find answers. If answers exist anywhere. I can't return home to watch my home die when I know there could be answers somewhere.
I will also continue on. For like Fawn, if I return without fixing this, the forest will wither, and I will itch and itch and itch until it's all gone. Even though I do not like it here, the water is wrong and tastes funny, but I will continue on, and perhaps we will go somewhere else.
I shall continue, it is all I can do, till the sea reclaim me. It may happen soon.
And the Magus will nod and look at each one of them in turn. I urge you to accept the hospitality of the Gilded One. Go to them. They will provide you passage across the way. But I fear that I will accept their hospitality permanently. That this is where my journey will end. And Piccolo will try to tell him of the small magic that she and Vago birthed back at Spirit River with the stories in the acorn. But it isn't not enough. And she too promises to continue on with the companions.
Vago gives him one of the acorns and says, "It may not give you strength directly, it may not extend your journey, but find somewhere to put it, far from the shore, where it may grow and maybe help a little bit."
The Magus will take the acorn and, sitting down, leaning against a wall where you can see the sea and smell the salt air. No, it is for you to plant. And they will take the acorn and hold it in their hands, cupped over it, and close their eyes. And as the breath fades and the hands fall open, the acorn is in a sprouted state that will stay preserved until Vago plants it, and it is the last of the Magus's magic.
Vago takes it and reverently puts it in a pocket to bear somewhere where it can be planted and grow and thrive.
And with the Magus's last breath, I'll pass on my turn.
Damn.
So I get to follow that. Vago will take under consideration what the Major said about the Gilded One accepting the hospitality, and so we'll go to the Gilded District, which is, as is implied by the prompt, gilded. It glitters and shines in a way that Vago doesn't quite understand. But he trusts that the Magus knew of this hospitality and that this is somewhere where they need to go. So Vago finds the core of the Gilded District, a temple to the Gilded One, and knocks on the door as gently as Vago is capable of doing. And it is answered by an acolyte of the Gilded One, if anyone would like to be the acolyte.
I can try accoling a light.
Okay. Hello. We were sent here by the Magus, who said that we should accept the hospitality of the Gilded One. Is that you?
I am not quite so blessed, but of course. And just sort of looks looking up and up. It is clear you are one of magical origin. You are welcome. Where is the Magus?
The Magus is with the rest of magic. But he sent us here to continue his journey and continue his quest.
We must inform the Gilded One immediately, then. So they may give you whatever you need.
Thank you. Do you have water that is not salty?
We do.
Very good. So...
I think he's starting to lead you on. I'm just imagining you here sort of fading out. Next one. There, we do this thing called condensation.
Very good. Vago ducks into the temple and goes to see if they can stick their feet in a well or something similar. And with that, I will pass on my turn.
On goes to the wharf and stands there looking out across the ocean, seeing it for the first time. She's never been this far from her home before, nowhere near the sea. The smells and sights are new to her. She stands there with her eyes closed, breathing in the salty air, feeling the breeze, the warm breeze swirling around, coming in over the ocean. She watches the gulls fly and make their cries overhead, and she just closes her eyes and reaches out to the life she can sense in the sea. It feels not entirely healthy, but a little more alive, a little healthier than where they've come from. And that brings her hope. Hope that maybe beyond the sea, maybe on the lands the ships can take them to, maybe perhaps there's something there that can fix things, something that can help revive the magic and spread it back across their land and bring life back to her home and all the surrounding forests and creatures. She knows that it's now too late for the Magus, but hopes that maybe it's not too late for the rest of their land. Maybe everyone else touched by magic that is now weakening can be restored again. And she just stands there breathing it in, thinking over the promises they made to the Magus, and hoping that between her and her companions they can find what they need to fix things once more. And with that, I end my turn.
Okay. And that brings us to the end of our tale. I think it's a good end. I think it works nicely. That's the beauty of this game, is it always sculpts such a nice... Because it's in bits, it sculpts this nice little narrative that it's always been really, really beautiful every time I've played it, and I'm gonna have to play this again very soon. Thank you all so much for playing this with me. I appreciate it. Glad I finally got to sink my teeth into this, the original Fall of Magic game. Before this round of them, these last couple weeks, I had played one of the expansions that came out for it before, but I'd never actually played the game proper. So I'm very pleased that with it. It's really nice. Well, as we are at the end here, we're going to go around opposite direction this time and do our outros. And folks can say, where to find them, any plug anything you like, and then any final thoughts about this game. And we will start with Kestrel.
You can find me at Kestrel Ray on Twitter and Instagram. Mostly on Twitter. I forget about Instagram. I do cosplay stuff, hoping to pick that up more this year. Hopefully launch a Patreon in a couple of months for it. Hoping to get myself into more tabletop role-playing games too. Trying to find some more games, hopefully get in an ongoing campaign soon. I really enjoyed playing this. It was fascinating. Just really interesting to play these open ones where you have to craft the entire narrative yourself as you go along. It's a really good exercise in creativity and thinking outside the box. So thank you for running this. I had a really good time.
Yay, thank you for playing with us. And now we will head up to Sphinx.
Hi. Yeah, I had a really good time. This was as I said, this is kind of my first time doing something like this. I think this is a really good, starting point, not a lot of complicated rules. Really got to focus on the story, interacting with people. And I had a lot of fun, creating a character and collaborating on this story with everybody. I am not really on parts of the internet associated with gaming or anything, so but I am hoping to get more into cosplay this year, along with doing more RPG gaming. So I might come out with something cosplay or gaming focused. This is the head of the tail that you may have seen coming in occasionally. It's either pet her or she chirps and meows incessantly, so you just sort of scratch her so she is quiet. But yeah, cleaning cat. Anyway, thank you so much, Jim. I really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for running it. Look forward to doing more of these kinds of things. And thank you so much to Kat and Kestrel as well.
Oh, this was really awesome. I loved Vago. Vago was wonderful. I was also a big fan of the River Spirit. The River Spirit was great. Loved it. Thank you so much for diving into playing this with us. This was really cool. And over to Kat.
Hi, I'm Kat. I'm at Cleric of Cord on the Twitters and watching Twitch streams, and I play games on the internet with my friends. And whenever Jim comes up with one of these, it's like, yes, please, yes. I started with D&D 5 years ago, and in the past year or so, I've discovered these quieter, collaborative storytelling games, and they've really become one of my favorite things to do. They're so refreshing. It's so different. I always leave them feeling energized. There's that spark of creativity that comes with them, and couldn't ask for better companions in storytelling than Sphinx and Kestrel and Jim. You guys are just amazing, and thank you. Really, thank you. I hope everybody watching enjoyed it. If you're catching this elsewhere, get a hold of Jim. Go sign up for one of his games. You won't regret it. Trust me. And speaking of games with Jim, Wednesday, be back here playing Masks and Teenage Superheroes, and I cry there too, a lot, because our DM mole makes me cry. Honestly, I think my favorite moment, there's so many, but Vago and Matilda was just a blast. That was so much fun. And Fawn in the Mistwood, reconnecting with their home was great. And I'm just sad we didn't get more Gil in his home. But I know that he's got so many children and grandchildren. But he'll be fine.
Who knows? Yeah, I think I will say I think my favorite scene in this whole thing. There are so many, it's hard, but was the scene in the tall grass, bringing back the acorn and between and bringing back the book and the stuff between Piccolo and Vago there, planting the tree. That was really nice. That was really good. Well, that leaves me. Once again, I'm Jim Ryan. You can find me at OtherDoc on both Twitch and Twitter. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. I've got links down below to my website, Twitter, YouTube channel, some fiction and games I've been working on, along with links to game signups and applications to join our Discord. I'll throw the link to that, and I think I also have a command for that. Do I? Yes, I do, for anyone who wants to apply for there. And as far as stuff happening, well, as for me, on this channel, normally on Sunday nights we have our Dark Matter campaign. We're kind of taking a break this week for various reasons, but we should be back next week. Tomorrow, Monday nights, tomorrow night, we're having the finale of the Deadlands campaign I've been running over on Tales from the Grim. They have run into Stone, who is like the big bad of that setting, and we will see what happens, and if the last session of this season lasts for like 5 minutes, or if they get through, we'll see. But back on this channel on Tuesday nights this month, we have for our monthly mini campaign, we have Apocalypse World. We did all the world building last time, and now we're going to do a bunch of wonderful destructive things. We will have our full cast in, and I think it's going to be very cool. On Wednesday nights, we have the aforementioned Masks campaign, which is delightful. My character is the only one without superpowers, and thus far doing okay. We'll have to see what happens when we go outside the realm of things as dangerous as Dance Dance Revolution. And perhaps, like, fighting other supervillains. That'll be the question. But I think that's going to be a lot of fun. On Saturday nights, we have our regular Invisible Sun campaign, The Edge of Paradox. And then back to Sunday, 1 week from today, when our one-shot will be Shotguns and Sorcery. That is a Cypher System game. It's actually the first one that ever got licensed. I think before the core rules even came out, it got licensed, and they finally managed to fulfill their Kickstarter. That's in process. They're on the tail end of it, I should say, as it has finally come out for Kickstarter backers. And so I'm going to try running a session of it on 1 week from today. So hope we have that to look forward to. I do still technically have I've had a lot of folks sign up, so it's going to be a tough decision. The sign-up form is still open right now for it. I'm probably going to choose players for that within the next day or two. So before I officially close sign-up, so you have until I decide to do that to do it. So if the form's still open, there's a chance. So that's open. I've also just opened sign-ups for Medical Bay 3, the one-shot that'll be at the end of the month. That is a science fiction medical drama game that we're going to be doing a one-shot of. It's humans at an ancient alien space station trying to deal with alien patients and figure out the causes of their various ailments. I think that's going to be fun trying that out. And so signups are open for those. So if you want to sign up, feel free to go down to RPG Sign Up down below, or go to JimYesThatJim.com and click on Game Sign Up. And as always, beginners are welcome. So when we hit the end card, now comes the time when I wish I had thought ahead. Let's see, who do we have doing stuff? We have, let's see, there is okay, my friend NCAF1, it looks like is doing something. Legends of the Drowned Isles, an actual play. It looks like they're on break right now, so we're going to go do a break raid and say hi to them. Feel free to hang on and say hi to them with us. That will be when we hit the end card. In the meantime, folks, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I will see you all of a sudden. Farewell.